Hello and welcome to this tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba, and today we are going to create a concrete bridge, and we are going to use concrete pillars for the support, and the parts that will be supported will be concrete shells. We're going to use concrete shells for our bridge, and we'll get started right away. If you take a look on the screen, you can see a grid in place and some 3 circles. These 3 circles are just defining the profile we will follow in creating the bridge. We want to follow this profile, which will start all the way from this spot, running all the way to that spot, and picking that part, coming in and connect with that spot, and comes out to this end. The centers of these circles are 350 meters from that center to this center. We can check that by coming to measure here, pick on measure, and just snap right. I've selected the grid, so let's deactivate that grid. Want just to check these measurements. We'll start from that spot and ends here. That's 350 meters all the way to this 700 to that. This is 700. Now this is a simple mathematics to do. Now we'll go straight and get started. Now I'll bring this close, and we will first of all create our pillar here, our concrete pillar. Remember this profile we did in AutoCAD and previously, and if you've been following this channel religiously, let me say that you won't have a problem in creating profiles in AutoCAD, then importing them into Tekla structure to make your to introduce a customized profile into Tekla structures. That should not be something very hard to do. Actually, I did one in AutoCAD, and this is the pillar I want to use here. Now I'll come to still here because it is a default profile. Now I'll come to beam here, and I want that pillar to start from this end, just to start from that spot. It should be 3 meters in length, and I'll just place my cursor there, and I'll type the dimension I want. I just type 3 meters right there, and I'll enter on my keyboard. I'll right click and click interrupt to terminate that command, and you can see this is the pillar we want, and this is the top part of it. Now what do we do next? What we want to do now is just to come to view and switch to 3D plane, and if I bring this close, you can see how our pillar looks, and this was achieved by doing this profile in AutoCAD and just extruding, bringing it into Tekla structure and extrude it to whatever length you want or whatever dimension you want. But the extrusion is constricted to the shape or the profile you did in AutoCAD. Now let me just navigate and turn this around like this. You can see, and you can also see my circle. They're not actually a line. This was just CHS, a circular hollow section. I defined the thickness to be very small, and the height of the pipe to be very small. Let me just double click on it so that you see the properties. You see the diameter is 700 meters, and the thickness is very small, 5 millimeter. That will define for us, will act as a line in creating a circle, because the lines created in AutoCAD, sometimes if you refresh your window, it will disappear, and this one will not disappear. This will make your work very easy. Now let me just close that. I'll just highlighting on how this circle can be created on a better way. Now we have our pillar here. Now we want to bring it up, and that we cannot do right now. We have some other things we want to do and we can just double click on it once again, and we want to bring it upward. And to do that, we just come at depths here and click behind and click modify and see whether it will come up. It will not come up. We change this to front and click modify, and you'll see that coming up. So I'll close this and click on empty screen to deselect that. We will not refresh because you have some points that we don't want to lose. So we have a pillar here, you can see that. Now the next one, what we want to do next is to create a shell. We'll switch back to the 3D plane and bring this close, zoom closer, and we'll come to steel. We'll just click on steel because the profile, in either way, if you work with concrete profile, it will create whatever you want. And I'll come here and click on beam, and I'll snap right here and snap right here. This will be 5 meters, and that will be the length of our shell, and I'll click right there. Now it has picked our column as a default profile, so we want to change this. Just double click on that, then we'll come to that radio button and scroll down. It was categorized and other profiles here, and what you want to work with, we created something like shell 1 here, and go ahead and apply and accept that, and come here and click modify, and everything will change to what we really want to use. I'll come to view and I'll come to navigate, and I will just rotate this. You can see our shell here. We'll double click on it. And take it up. We can take it up, right click and just pick and just click on move, and either pick it from the bottom end here and bring it up here. Just bring it up right like that. That is what you wanted to do, and we'll come to navigate once again and rotate this. Just click that and rotate. This is what we wanted to do. Everything will be worked on step by step. So today we want to just define the profile and the whole bridge profile and the supporting pillars. Now we'll select everything here and mirror on the other end. We'll come and close this, and once we've done that, we'll select everything, then right click, and prior to right clicking, we'll first of all try if we can mirror this comfortably. If it fails, we'll change the direction of our XYZ axis. We'll come to a special copy, then come to mirror, and we want to use this edge as our mirror line. We'll snap right there and snap right there, and try to click copy to check whether it will mirror. It will not mirror the way you want, and this is what we will have, which is not our destination. Now we'll come back to view. We want to reorient our XYZ plane, and we'll just place it somewhere here. Place it somewhere there and select everything we want to mirror, and right click and come to special copy here and click mirror and pick on our mirror line. This edge will be our mirror line right here, and you can see the angle is 90, so we can go ahead and click copy, and it has mirrored on the other end, and this is exactly what we wanted. Perfect. Now what do we do? What we want to do, we want to bring this right at the center, and to do that, it's quite simple. We'll just come here and come to points and pick on online points and snap on that spot, and go all the way and snap on that spot. So this will give us a midpoint between the 2 points. Then I'll right click and come to move, and pick it from this point and bring it right here, right there, and we have our pillar and the shell right on the position, on the right position right here. Now we want to just switch back to our plane or plan. This is where we are, and first of all we want to start with the shells first. We want to populate the shells along this path to take this path all the way to the other end. Now what do you do and how do we do this? We'll come to this radio button here and click right here and just type here array when you want to use radial array tool here. We'll just double click on the radial array tool, and we'll pick on the part on the shells first, because we want to populate these shells along the path we've just defined. We'll click on that and press Ctrl and pick on this, then press our middle button on the mouse right here, and we'll go straight to the midpoint here. You can see this is our midpoint, so we'll pick on this midpoint right here, snap right there, and define the x-axis. Our x-axis will be on that direction and our y-axis will be in this direction right here, and we'll press our middle button right there and zoom out and check whether everything has been populated as we planned. This is how it looks, and if I switch back to the isometric view, you'll be able to see whatever we have. This is what we have. This is what we have, and our bridge shell is well distributed. This is what we have, and you can take a look on that. Now let's go back. Let's switch back to that to plan view, and also we want to follow this path right this way. Now what do? We will deactivate the assembly, and now come here and pick on this. You can pick on this, the two, and close this and activate it once again, and pick on these two parts. Pick on that, press Ctrl and select on that, press Ctrl, press the middle button, the mouse, and now we are targeting the midpoint at this end. We'll pick on the midpoint, then press our middle button on the mouse, then define our x axis will be that, and our y axis will be in this direction, and we'll press our middle button on the mouse, and if you zoom out, you'll be able to see we have that following in that direction perfectly well. And we want to check this. We'll delete this. We have to delete that and delete that, delete that, delete this, delete everything right there till you get to a tangential point, is where we'll start. Is where we'll use the array tool to populate that component along the path we've just defined. Now we'll use this. Not really. We want to use this one, the two. Now we'll close this and come here and activate it once again, and we want to select on this, press Ctrl and select on that, then we'll press our middle button on the mouse and go all the way to this center and select the midpoint. You can see at the bottom end here, pick the original point, and this will be our original point. I'll show you how to place this midpoint. There's a tool, there's a macro that is specialized in this. Now I'll pick on the midpoint here and press my middle button on the mouse, and I'll define my x direction, which will be that, and my y direction will be that. So I'll press my middle button to activate the command. You can see it has been populated in that direction. So once you've done this, we still have to populate other components. We'll do away with these circles once we are complete and confident that what we've done is the right thing. Now if we switch back to isometric view, we have this in place. I'll close this now for now, but I'll come back for it because we still have the pillars to populate along this path. Now I'll come to navigate, and if I click on that and turn this round, you can see what we have. So we'll take a walk on top of the bridge once we've populated these pillars. Remember, we still have a lot to do on this bridge, especially this. You can use this especially if you want to do analysis of a bridge similar to this model will be very useful to you. Now let me do this. I'll come back to Radial Array Tool. I'll double click on it. Now I'll come here and pick on the pillars that I want to populate along the path that the shells have followed. Now I'll pick on the columns here. I'll press Ctrl while picking these pillars. I'll pick on that. Then I'll go ahead and press my middle button on the mouse, then switch back to plan view and come all the way to this end, and I'll snap at the midpoint right there and select my X direction and define my Y direction and press my middle button on the mouse. And if you zoom out, you'll see, and if you switch back to isometric view, you'll be able to see a congestion of pillars. So what do we do this, and how will this now look much better? It shouldn't be a worry, and this will be corrected just right now in front of your eyes. Now just bring back the assembly button here. Just click on that, and we want to change, we'll double click on it, and we want to change the array entries here. Now we'll change this. We'll change the number of pillars. We'll change them to 17, and also the angle, we'll change this to 4 degrees, and we'll click modify, and we'll apply and give it an OK right there. And you can now see the space is now wider, and it is approximately 10 meters apart. If I come to navigate here, you can see we have our pillars right at the bottom of our shells, well arranged. You can see that, and you can see that. On top of the pillars, there are some pedestals that will be used to connect with the shells, but we'll do that later on. I want just to show you. First of all, we want just to define the path, and the path of our bridge, and the general arrangement of our shells and pillars first, before we go into many details, so that we have a clear picture of what we are trying to do. Now let me just switch back to where I was, and we'll double click on this, and we'll pick on the first pillar. So if you'll see, if I mouse over on these pillars, you'll see everything is getting selected. And to make your work very easy, you disable this button by selecting this select objects in component button. Just activate this, so that this will allow you to select individual components. Now we want to select this, select on that, and press Ctrl and select on that. Then switch back to the plan view, and we want to use this as our midpoint. We'll select the midpoint. First of all, once you've selected the component, press the middle button on the mouse, and you'll see the instructions down here. Pick the origin, the point of origin. Our point of origin will be here, and the x-axis will be now on the opposite direction, like that, and the y-axis will be on this direction, like that. Then press your middle button on the mouse and zoom out and check whether what you've just done is following the directions you really prefer to be followed. Now I can see one is protruding, and we want to switch back to isometric view and check that and correct and check whether if we really need it or we can do away with it. I'll come to navigate here, and I want to turn that round, turn it round, and you can see that. You can see this. Remember, I told you when it comes to rotation, it's upon you to pick on the appropriate way of rotating your model. Whichever way that makes your work easier, stick with that. With me, I use both keyboard and the menu bar commands. Now you can see when it reaches this, when it went past this pillar, we started deviating off the path. Now what we'll do, we'll just delete the pillars that are deviating off or are coming out of our path, or the path that we defined for our bridge. Now the next pillars we're going to use, we want to use the last one, this one and this one, and we'll come here and deactivate this and activate it once again, and we'll come here and pick on this pillar. We'll pick on this pillar and press Ctrl and pick on that, then press middle button on the mouse and switch back to plan view, and we want to use this midpoint or this point of origin as our midpoint. We've clicked on it, and our x-axis will be that, and our y-axis will be that, and press our middle button on the mouse and switch back to isometric view to check whether everything is distributed perfectly well. And this is how it looks, and everything is perfect. So you can see one pillar is just slightly off the point, and we'll pull them back to appropriate position. I'll close that and close that, because what we want to do with them now is somehow complete, and this part hasn't been generated so well compared to other parts. Now what we'll do, once again, we'll come back here and try to redo this. We'll click delete that and come to navigate here and pick on this. Come to navigate here and delete this. Not really delete, we'll deactivate this and delete that, and activate this and delete these ones. Perfectly done. Now let me just turn this so that we check this, whether the position they are is worth using this part as our datum. We'll use this. Now this will take us back to our Radial Tool, and we'll deactivate that assembly and pick on that, press Ctrl and pick on that, and press our middle button on the mouse and switch back to our midpoint here, and we'll snap right here and define our x-axis, which will be that, and our y-axis will be that. Press our middle button on the mouse and switch back where we were and check whether everything has been populated perfectly. And not well done, but we will have to correct the angles here. We need 86 of them, and at an angle of 0.75, at angle of 0.789 or 779, and we'll click that and apply. We'll double click on this once again and change this to 86 at an angle of 0.779, and click modify. We'll apply and accept that. Now it's perfect. It's perfect now. Now if you come to navigate here and turn this round, you'll be able to see they're connecting perfectly well. So we'll come back and populate the pillars. So prior to doing that, we have to deactivate that button, the assembly. Now we'll close this and come to radial array, and we'll pick on this, press Ctrl and pick on that, press your build button and switch back to the plan view, and we want to use this midpoint as our point of origin of everything. We'll pick on that and define our x-axis to be that and our y-axis to be that, and press on build button on the mouse, and we're almost done for today. Now I'll come to navigate and check this. You can see we have so many pillars below here, and we'll correct this. We enable that, double click on this and come here and change this to 17 number of pillars at an angle of 4 degrees, and click modify, and everything will be corrected just right away. Then we want to pull this under the shell once again, and to do that we have to deactivate this and reorient our XYZ plane. We'll place it right there and zoom close and check whether check on which axis should we use to pull this or to bring these pillars to the right position. We'll use the y-axis. Now we'll select on this, select on that, press Ctrl and come to move spatial and pick on mirror, and we'll use the y-axis. We'll use the 2 meters, and we'll just click that until we get to the bottom end of that. You can see that when I click more, and that is now at the bottom end. Now if we click on empty screen, you can see that now this is what we have. This is what we have for now. And if we change the view, now by double clicking on empty screen, let me just close this, and we change our projection to perspective, click apply and accept that, and we can zoom right here, and we can see everything in a different view. You can see that in a different view, and this is what we have. This is what we have. Have a bridge here, have a bridge here. Nicely done. Now we are lacking one thing. We don't have the footing, and footing should be now a very simple thing to do, and we'll do that later on, or we can just do it right now. You can take a look. That perfect and neatly done. You can see that. Let me just come out here, and we can now take a walk on top here. Let me just bring it to a position that will be much better for us. Just bring it closer. Remember, this is a footpath, and we'll place the handrails right there, and another footpath is on this side. Now we want to take a ride on top of our bridge, just to show you everything. Now to do that, we'll come to under view here, we'll pick on fly. We want to fly over, and we'll bring this up here. So we'll just ride on top here, just to show you how long is our bridge, and this will move very fast, and this is how our bridge looks. This is how our bridge looks, and we can take a very quick ride here, or a quick drive, and you can see what you've just done in some minutes. And we can come back. go right back where we were, where we were before. And let me just take you there in a quick way. And this is the point we started from. This is a very simple bridge done in Tekla structures by using just one command, using array tool in macro, array tool macro in Tekla structures. This is how it looks. Perfect. Now I'll press escape and switch back to my previous projection view, which is ortho mode, and click that, and we can now place our pad footing. Now, how do we do this? We'll just use a slab, or if the pad footing will not be okay for us in this point. At this point, we'll just use a slab. So we'll just come right here and use points here. We'll come to points and just come back to points and click at any position. Click on that and that. Click on this. We want to offset that. We'll come to work plane and we'll snap right there, and we'll click on that, right click and click move special. In what direction? X direction. We want that to move around 2 meters in that direction, and 2 meters in the opposite direction. Not move now. We'll click that. We'll click this and click move and click that. Perfect. And click the two. Click these two, and we want to copy them or move them and in the z-axis direction. We'll come to z-axis, and we want that to move in the z-axis direction 2 meters. Now we'll do the same thing right here. Pick on this, press Ctrl and pick on that, right click and come to copy, and we want to copy this on this direction. Just copy this in that direction. Pick this, press Ctrl, right click and come to special copy and click linear, and we'll come on the z-axis on the opposite direction. We want to give it 4 meters right there, 4 meters, and pick on that, press Ctrl, and we want to offset, move that using by 2 meters. Once again, opposite direction, move that 2 meters. Just undo that and close this, and we'll come to navigate and try to turn this round and see whether this is now perfectly in the position that we wanted it to be on. I'll come to concrete and come to slab here, and I'll snap on these points here and close my polygon right here, and double click on this and increase the thickness to 4 meters. 4 meters right there, and I'll change the color to check the color of real concrete, which is now gray, and I'll change that. Now right click and redraw that, but I don't want to lose my points because I still want to use them. at some point. Now we want to populate this. I'll come to Array Tool and double click on this and pick on this. And how many do we want? You want 17 of these. And click Modify, Apply and Accept. And we'll come to View and switch back to this plan view. And I'll press my middle button on the mouse and target my midpoint right here. And define my x-axis and the y-axis right there, and go back to isometric view to check whether my footings are in the right position. There they are. There. And we want to continue populating this. Now I'll activate the Radial Tool and pick on this, press my middle button on the mouse and switch back to my my plan view, and I want to just define my midpoint or origin, point of origin, and I'll click on that spot and define my x-axis and my y-axis right there, and press my middle button and switch back to my isometric view. Now we have to delete this because it's now tracing its way out of our profile. Delete that. It is now deviating off the actual path that we defined. Then close this and activate this and do this for the last time. Click on this, then press your middle button on the mouse and switch back to plan view, and we'll define our point of origin right here, and also detailing or defining the x y directions. I'll pick on that. Then my x direction and the y-axis direction will be that. I'll press my middle button on the mouse, and if I switch back to isometric view, I'll be able to see this in place. And this is what we wanted to use. So I'll close this now and click on this, right click and come to special, move special, and click on that, and on the z-axis I'll click move, and I'll move this till it reaches actually the bottom end of this, which is not the best position. So this will help us more. We'll pick on that and pick it right at that spot and bring that one right on that position. Now don't forget to save your work, because we are now hitting the end of our tutorial, and I would like you to subscribe if it is your first time on this channel, and we welcome you, and let's learn Tekla structures. Now let me come to navigate, and I want to rotate this. This is how it looks. And now we'll take a ride for the last time. And remember to take a ride by using fly. You have to change your projection from ortho to perspective, and click modify and accept that. Now come to navigate and bring your model to a position that will make you drive or ride confidently without any hiccups. Now I'll come to fly, and I want to fly from this end, and we'll take that direction, and we'll move that fast. Following that path. This is where we are, and we are slightly quick, and let's turn back and get where we came from, and you can see that. Perfect. You can see that. This is how it looks. And I think you've learned how you can do this by yourself. It's easy as that. Thanks for watching this video, and let's meet on the next presentation we'll be still working on the both on PEB and this bridge. Bye bye, and don't forget to subscribe, and let's meet then. I'm Honest Dimba, and don't forget to subscribe once again. Bye bye.